I will speak on behalf of and introducing famous teaching by Konosuke Matsushita, the founder of Panasonic. Hey, you, it's sudden. But let me ask you something. If someone treats you unfairly, with a condescending attitude, in other words, if they look down on you, what would you do? Would you flare up on the spot and snap? What's with that tone? Or would you grit your teeth, say nothing, get through the moment, and later brood alone thinking, and I should have said this or that back then? Most people in this world do one of those two. Some explode in the anger as their emotions dictate. If you ask me, that's what third-rate people do. They are just slaves to their own emotions. On the other hand, some people get angry inside, but suppress themselves so as not to rock the boat, and simply ignore the other person. That's well, second rate. It may look mature at a glance, but they are only putting a lid on it. Inside, the magma of frustration is boiling over. That too isn't a true solution. But in this world, there are very rarely top tier people. Such people neither get angry nor merely ignore things. They catch their filthy ball of insult the other person hurl at them, polish it up, and throw it back as a gem. So dazzling it makes the other say, I yield. There are people who can pull off that feat. And the key is a single one line. This one line is not some difficult expression. You probably use it every day. But depending on when you say it and with what state of mind, its value can differ as much as heaven and earth. It won't just shut the other person up. It will make them feel from the bottom of their heart, this person is in a different league from me, and store up genuine respect. In this video, I want to talk step by step and with care about how to polish the three vessels of the heart, so that you can utter that magical one line naturally and with calm authority in any situation, mixing in some embarrassing stories from younger days. By the time you finish this talk, you won't be shaken by other people's little words or actions anymore. On the contrary, when someone looks down on you, you grin and think, good, here's my chance to enlarge my capacity. Now then, let's begin. First, the mindset for polishing the first vessel with your heart. It is to draw a clear line. The other person's rudeness is their problem. It's not your problem, it's theirs. Simply grasping this down in your gut will quietly still the commotion in your heart. This was back when Matsushita Electric was still just a tiny town workshop. Nobody knew. I kept going to a big company, hoping to supply our new lamp. The purchasing manager there was a picture-perfect authoritarian type. When a young fellow like me showed up, he probably wanted to flaunt his authority. He always took a sneering attitude. One day I finally got him to hear me out, but he deliberately made me stand in the middle of a busy office with lots of employees around. He picked up the lamp I brought. I looked over and said loudly, "So you're from Matsushita, and you think you can do business with us with this cheap lantern-looking thing?" Just the sort of idea an educated errand boy would come up with. And I heard the surrounding staff chuckle. In that moment, I felt the blood rush to my head. My face flushed hot, and the anger surged from deep in my stomach. How dare you? It wasn't just about me. I saw the faces of my employees, who'd worked sleepless nights to make this. It felt like even their effort was being trampled, and I was burning with frustration. If I shut it back here, I'll be third rate. I clenched my fist and swallowed the words I wanted to hurl. Can't you even recognize the value of such a good product? But then, in my mind, a cooler second self appeared and said, Konosuke, look carefully. Is this manager truly judging the product's merits now? No, he just wants to put out a young upstart like you in his place in front of his many subordinates and parade his power. Maybe he's in a foul mood or something upset him, and he's taking it out on you. And this is about the limits of his own vessel. It has nothing to do with the value of the product or your worth as a person, does it? The moment I could see it that way, the anger receded like a tide. I gently peeled off the emotional outer garment, labeled the manager's rude attitude, and focused only on what lay beneath and his true interest. What benefit will this product bring to our company? I smiled, bowed deeply, and said, "Sir, thank you for your valuable feedback. The appearance may indeed not yet be refined. However, could I ask you to look at the light just once?" I lit the lamp I brought. This lamp lasts 30% longer than previous ones. It also uses 20% less power. In other words, if you introduce this, your company's annual expenses will be reduced by this much. And at this level of brightness, your craftsman's eye strain will lessen and productivity will suddenly rise. We made this with a single thought to be of service to your company. I didn't touch his insult at all. I devoted my entire attention to what I should do, namely conveying the other party's benefit. And what happened? The manager, who had been blustering, fell silent and stared at the lamp's light. The employees who had been laughing were now watching with serious faces. The office felt perfectly quiet. After a while, the manager muttered, "Mr. Matsushita, you are an interesting fellow. All right, let me hear a little more about that." With that one line, the atmosphere changed. I had stepped down from his ring and managed to wrestle on my own. Remember, these rude words and attitudes that people fling at you are like garbage that spilled out of their own hearts. There's no need to dutifully pick it up and tackle it into your bosom and soil your own heart. Say to yourself, this person has no room in their heart right now, or something tough must have happened, and set it aside as their issue. The only things you should pick up are the occasional bits of real issues or facts about the work that might be mixed in with that trash. But merely drawing that line and responding coolly is at the best. The upper tier of second rate, and top tier goes a step further and reads what's in the other person's heart. In the next, second vessel of the heart, I'll talk about surprisingly simple way to discern the true intent hidden behind the rudeness and even win the other person over to your side. Alright, let's speak about the second vessel of the heart. The first step was to regard the other person's rudeness as their problem. Next, go one step deeper and ask, why is this person speaking this way? Seeking out the real wish deep in their heart. People don't take a condescending attitude simply out of meanness. Behind that rude behavior, in most cases, lies a childlike cry. Understand me, acknowledge me, and let me feel that I matter. This was when my company had to start to grow a bit. At one plant, coordinating between departments wasn't going well, especially between design and manufacturing. They were like dogs and monkeys. The design leader was a university educated, the theory-driven man who liked to say, "The shop floor only needs to build to the drawings. Don't complain." The manufacturing leader was a battle-hardened craftsman who often grumbled. Those design folks don't know the floor. They dream up impossible things at their desks. You can't make anything decent with drawings like that. So one day, I convened a joint meeting. As expected, the air was tense as soon as the design lead began explaining drawings for a new product. The manufacturing lead folded his arms and snorted and said, "Professor, you've brought up another tricky one." There's no way we can make that with machines. Have you ever once been out there, covered in oil? Thought was outright confrontational. He was deliberately calling the design lead professor to jab at his education and resume a free condescending stance. The design lead flushed and shot back. If you can't do it, maybe your skills are lacking. My design is perfect. They are trendy barbs, pure third-rate anger. I watched down in silence a while and asked myself, why is this manufacturing leader so aggressive? It wasn't that he simply hated the design lead. Deep down I was saying, we on the shop floor sweat every day to turn what you think up into reality. We have long-honed experience and the instincts. Recognize that value. Don't belittle our work with a head-heavy theory. Exactly. At the root of his rude words was pride and the desire to be seen and acknowledged. Realizing this, I stepped between them and said, looking straight at the manufacturing leader first, Mr. Blah Blah Blah, I understand you well. I came up from the floor myself. There are difficulties only the floor knows. Things, drawings alone can't capture. You know those best. Your experience and skill are the company's treasure. I first fully affirmed his existence and experience. Then, like a demon's mask softening, his face relaxed. Next, I turned to the design leader. But Mr. Blah Blah Blah, without your ideals, we'd be stuck making the same things forever. Your high aspirations to make something better and astonish the world builds our future. That's a fact too. I affirmed his pride and ideals as well. Finally, I said to both, Japan's best design and Japan's best shop floor are both here. This isn't their time to be at odds. How do we use their floor's wisdom to realize this extinct, excellent design? And can we join forces for that one point? They looked at each other, startled. The Harsha vanished like a lie. The manufacturing lead murmured, we are not saying it's impossible. We just mean if you could tweak this part like so we could make something even better. Hearing that, the design lead replied, I see those are the issues on the floor, and that perspective was missing. I revived the drawings at once. In the end, it became our most constructive discussion yet. Do you see? When someone is rude, they are sending an SOS from their heart. Understand me, acknowledge me. The third rate gets angry at their surface words. Second rate ignores the SOS. Top tier catches it precisely and voices what the other most wants to hear. So what you're really saying is this, right? Instead of how dare you speak like that. You feel you deserve more recognition, don't you? Understand that, or you say that this, but deep down you want this project to succeed, right? You put their true wish into words first, then they become docile like a snake with the venom drawn. More than that, they think this person understands me better than anyone, and come to place tremendous trust in you. Master this, and there's nothing to fear in human relations. Now for the final touch. Having acquired the first two vessels, we come to the one line you utter at the end. In the third vessel of the heart, I fully reveal its essence. And here we are, the final third vessel of the heart. In the essence of the single line, top tier people use. With the first vessel, you observe the rudeness as the issue. With the second, you read the need for recognition behind it. By now, your heart should be calm, like a still lake amid the storm. From that, calm arises naturally, yet with the immense power. The one line, it is some clever comeback. It is thank you. You might think, what just that? But no common phrase is deeper and no tests the user's capacity more. When third rate hurls abuse and the second rate falls silent from. Our awkwardness can say thank you from the bottom of your heart with a clear smile in that tense instant. This is the decisive difference between top tier and rest. When I was in my 40s and the companies was started to draw public attention, I was invited to business association meeting. There lined up were presidents from long established conglomerates and far older than I, people like me, clear stuck out. After the meeting at the reception, a much revered business titan came over and loud enough for all to hear said, Matsushita, I hear your firm's been making good money lately. Good for you. But business isn't only about profit. You seem to lack the sort of philosophy or management for the nation that we had. A single blow in public be denied at the core of my management and able to display the difference in rank. The room fell silent. All I watched to see what I would do. I had retorted, what do you know of my philosophy? It would have been a mere quarrel. Third rate. If I had forced a smile and kept quiet, I'd have been dismissed as the young upstart who doesn't get it. Second rate. Because I paused for a heartbeat, looked him straight in the eye, smiled broadly, and said in a clear voice, President blah blah blah, I'm truly grateful. At that time, he and the onlookers looked blank. They hadn't expected. Thanks, I continued. Greenhorn like me gets so caught up in a day-to-day work that I end up focusing only on what's in front of the me. The broad nation-minded perspective you speak of, I still lack it. I'm sincerely grateful that you pointed out my shortcomings. So, employee, today is the greatest lesson I could have received. Thank you very much. And I bowed deeply and bending at the waist to 90 degrees. See? And that thank you carried three meanings. First, he declared, composure. Your rudeness has no effect on me. And reinterpreted his malice on my own terms and accepted as a valuable guidance. That company completely defunks the other. Second, I expressed respect. There is a lesson in what to say as we discussed with the second vessel in response to his inner city of acknowledge me. I gave the highest from recognition. Yes, you are a person of higher possibility than I. Third, it dedicated unshakable confidence. I am the kind of man who can turn every your words into nourishment for my growth. It displayed the capacity that converts any negative energy into positive for oneself. When I raised my head, that titan's face had shifted to a complex expression, and a mix of surprise, a touch of embarrassment, and approval. Starting where this was no ordinary fellow. From that day on, he became one of the deepest understanders of my management. That is the tremendous honor of the power of the single word. Thank you. And when you looked down on be little, try saying with a best smile, thank you for the feedback. It's a lesson to me, and thank you for caring about enough to speak up. And this is not a surrender, not debate. It's the ultimate way to win. So much so that you can turn the other in the palm of your hand. The other will feel ashamed of their meaningless smileness and both your largeness. The third rate, when a store is thrown and gets angry, throws one back. Second rate endures in silence. And thank you picks up the one and makes it the cornerstone of their castle. Which way of life will you choose? The choose is yours. You talked about the three vessels of heat. How they draw the line, that's their problem. How that grabs the other true intention and then how they receives everything with gratitude. When these three become one within your being looked down on, disappears from your life because you have become a calm, improvable presence and untouched by others. The evaluation. Let me say it again. When you belittle third rate gets angry, becomes a slave. It's emotion. Second, write emoji and wear down the heart, top tier smiles, and say thank you and even takes hold of the other's shirt. You still are here. Not for a single moment do you need to let someone's immaturity disturb your precious heart. Rather, when you encounter such a scene, think, alright, here's a final chance. Fine chance to show this person deserves my best soul. If what I've said today becomes one starting point for you to live more freely, more powerfully, and more nobly from here on, nothing could make me happier. When people have looked down on you until now, how did you respond? And after bearing today's talk, now, so how do you want to be from here on? If you like, share your results in it. And comments are look, what's the rating them, and if you like to keep learning loves wisdom. Together with me, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, hold your head high and work in your own path. Bye bye.